Well, you can't do a Republican attack without going to the Muslims. So Peter King is outraged that they would build a mosque near Ground Zero. So is Fox News, of course. So let's watch what their complaint about this is.
All right, another very hot topic is the fact that some people want to build this mosque now right at the same site as where the World Trade Center towers fell down. So many people outraged by this. They say it's a slap in the face. Where do you come in on this?
Yeah, I believe it is very offensive and it's wrong. I don't believe that legally it can be stopped, however, because of the First Amendment. But having said that, you know, the mosque will be there. It will be within walking distance of where so many Americans were killed by radical Muslims. And obviously we cannot blame all of Islam for what a handful of terrorists did. What bothers me, though, is since then that so many Muslim leaders have failed to speak out against radical Islam, against the attacks. We had mosques here on Long Island who are actually blaming the attacks on the Jews, the CIA, and the FBI. So that's why this is particularly offensive.
I love that. I mean, we got this sticky First Amendment issue about how they have the right to exercise their religion, which we love as Christians and Jews, but, you know, as Muslims, it's kind of sticky. Now, having said that, let's discriminate anyway, right? Let me make a case against it. And because all Muslims are the equivalent of the people who did the 9/11 bombing.
Where to begin? Number one, a couple hundred Muslims died in the 9/11 attack. So should they be denied any memorial? Number two, does that mean he would be equally opposed to building a Christian church near the Oklahoma City bombing?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
look, Tim McVeigh, well-known Christian, how can you possibly build a church next to the Oklahoma City bombing? But you know what? Forget Tim McVeigh, because yes, he was Christian, but that's not what was driving. Okay, Eric Rudolph, no question, driven by Christian right beliefs that he had, does the Olympic bombings among other bombings, right? So where he did the Olympic bombings in Atlanta, can't build a church. That would
Atkinson, where he shot the abortion doctor, can't build it. It was in a church.
Well,
you have to tear it down.
Tear it down. Yeah, he's a Christian.
And the other piece is, you know, he talks. You hear this all the time. Even Sam Harris on the atheist side would say, "Where are the mullahs who condemn terrorism? They're all silent about it." Well, or imams or whatever. I did a piece for the Huffington Post years ago where I was able to track down without too much effort. I can't remember if it was 800 or 1,200 different imams who had signed different petitions condemning terrorism as un-Islamic. So all these guys who say, you know, they're all guilty because they don't condemn it. They condemn it right and left. You know, it's just that it's an easy way to brand an entire group of people.
Absolutely. Just a recent example of that is that after the Times Square bombing attempt, all the Muslim groups in the country came out saying, "Oh, we condemn this. It's terrible. Thank God he was caught." In fact, the guy who actually reported the car first was also Muslim. Okay, they saw the car smoking, called the cops, et cetera, right? But do they get credit for that? No. Every time, it's just as if they just never happened. Because why? They're on Fox News. They're not going to get challenged on it. They're going to welcome it, right? So King gets out there and pretends that it didn't happen. So they'll say, "Oh, see, they never condemn any of these attacks."